Brazil is the biggest country in South America and offers 8.5 million square meters of beaches, jungles, and vibrant Latino communities. With its captivating nature and one of the world's fastest-growing economies, living in Brazil means you'll enjoy a colorful new lifestyle. There are a lot of job opportunities and life expectancy in Brazil is high. But what do you really need in order to move to Brazil? And what is the cost of living here? Brazil is a country rich in history and culture, with expansive natural landscapes. It is home to an ever-expanding community of expats, settling in its diverse towns and cities, and taking pleasure in its natural white coastlines, local culture, and historical sites. Life in Brazil is full of adventures. The pace of life can be fast, especially in larger cities like São Paulo, which are centered around business and commerce. Meanwhile, a more relaxed lifestyle can be found in coastal cities like Rio de Janeiro and Florianópolis. With the country's ethnically diverse mix of European, Japanese, indigenous, and African ancestry, expats in Brazil will experience a unique blend of cultures and communities that are always willing to embrace new travelers. Brazilian women are some of the most beautiful in the world. You will often see women with long, straight hair, tanned skin, hourglass bodies, and long, decorated nails. If you prefer curvy Latino women, then this might be the place for you. Family is hugely important in Brazilian culture, and children often remain with their parents until they marry. The total population of Brazil is estimated at just over 212 million. Of these, 1.3 million are immigrants. The leading nationalities of expats in Brazil are Japanese, Bolivian, Italian, and Argentinian. There's no doubt that Brazil is one of the most beautiful places you can call your home. It's known for one of the most important natural resources on our planet, the Amazon rainforest. But aside from its biodiversity, the Brazilian people are renowned for their laid-back lifestyle, culture, and passion for all things football, partying, and food. Life in Brazil could be really exciting for expats. Once you start to get to know locals, you'll soon become accustomed to the passionate gesticulation when talking, goodbye hugs, and even kisses. Whilst that might seem unnatural for an American or English expat in Brazil, you'll soon learn that it really just means you've been accepted into that social circle, and your newfound friends will soon feel like a second family. Brazil has a mostly tropical climate, warm and humid year-round, but the weather varies by region. The Amazon in the north is hot and rainy, especially in the wet season. However, the southeast region, which includes Rio and São Paulo, has warm summers, mild winters, and summer rain. Brazil is predominantly a Roman Catholic country, with an estimated 65% of the population practicing the religion. Patriarchy and gender roles are widely reflective of the Catholic culture, with men being the breadwinners and women responsible for domestic affairs. However, this is slowly changing. In 1960, the life expectancy in Brazil was only 54 years. As of 2024, this figure has improved significantly, increasing by nearly 41% to a current life expectancy of 76 years. Key factors contributing to this rise include a focus on prenatal care, child nutrition programs, immunization campaigns, and other important preventative services. The official language of Brazil is Portuguese, though the pronunciation is slightly different from what is spoken in Portugal. English and Spanish are also spoken in the larger cities and for business. If you are planning on moving to Brazil, it might interest you to know that Brazil is considerably cheaper than many Western countries. The cost of living in Brazil as an expat is more than 40% lower than the UK and 55% lower than in the US, with monthly costs for a single person estimated at $468 without rent. Rental costs in São Paulo, for instance, will set you back $600 for a one-bedroom apartment in the city center or $400 outside the city center. São Paulo is undoubtedly the #1 spot for travelers who are first moving to Brazil. It's South America's largest city, with a population of over 12 million. São Paulo is a mixed bag of cultures. and expats can easily get around with little to no knowledge of the Portuguese language. It has a beautiful tropical climate, and the pace of life is relatively laid back compared to Rio. As Brazil's financial center, it offers plenty of job opportunities for expats here. A whopping 34% of Brazil's GDP comes from this city. If you prefer a more relaxed lifestyle, you can consider moving to Rio de Janeiro, the natural next choice if you especially love a busy city vibe. Rio boasts some stunning beaches, and the atmosphere is very friendly and welcoming. If you work in oil, pharmaceutical, or media companies, then you will easily find work in Rio, since it houses some of the biggest names in those industries from around the world. After 2 decades of dictatorship, Brazil established universal healthcare as a right for all residents. Its public health system provides coverage to everyone legally living in the country. However, challenges such as a shortage of healthcare professionals and inadequate funding have made private healthcare a preferred option for many, especially foreign nationals. Private healthcare offers a higher standard of service overall, including easier access to specialists and advanced medical facilities. Unfortunately, due to its past challenges, Brazil has one of the largest shares of adults who lack secondary education, with only 69% of 15 to 19-year-olds currently enrolled in education. Class sizes average 25 students, and teachers' salaries remain low. As a result, Brazil is ranked number 32 globally for education, a factor to consider for those moving to the country with school-aged children. However, things are beginning to change positively. The government is investing heavily in improving education standards, and more online education options are becoming available. Brazil offers a wide range of public, private, and international schools. Private and international establishments are often preferred by expatriates, as they deliver better academic results, and often align more closely with American and British curricula. Brazil has significant inequalities between the rich and poor, which contributes to petty crimes like robberies and pickpocketing, particularly in busy areas such as shopping centers or business districts. Additionally, Brazil has a notoriously high violent crime rate compared to other expat destinations, with 59% of expats citing personal safety as a disadvantage of moving to the country. It ranks last for safety and security in the Internation's Quality of Life Index, with 56% of respondents rating their personal safety negatively. While LGBTQ+ communities are widely celebrated, and Brazil legalized same-sex marriage before the UK and the US, deep-seated intolerance persists in some areas. Brazil has the highest murder rate of transgender individuals globally, with 124 people killed in 2019 alone. Corruption is another notable issue in Brazil. A quick search of the term reveals numerous bribery, drug, and money laundering scandals, underscoring its prevalence in the country. Whilst overall crime levels are higher in Brazil than, for example, the United States, casual drug use and gun crime are overall higher in the USA. Overall, in common expat destinations, you're still relatively safe. One of the most enjoyable aspects of São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro is the warm, friendly, and honest demeanor of most people you will encounter. Although the economy may not be thriving, the general attitude of locals toward foreigners is largely positive. To better understand the cities, it's important to acknowledge their drawbacks. Brazil's economy and average monthly salaries are not particularly impressive, and São Paulo feels the impact of these economic challenges significantly. The country's minimum monthly wage is around $260, and the unemployment rate has risen to approximately 7.9% as of first quarter of 2024. I should mention that in cities like São Paulo, people face high taxes, resulting in limited purchasing power. For instance, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which costs $1,399 in the United States, is sold for over $2,220 in Brazil due to these taxes. In fact, Brazil is the most expensive country in the world to purchase this phone. Consequently, when you visit São Paulo, you'll see many favelas and homeless people on the streets, as the city is home to some of the largest favela neighborhoods. One of the most well-known is Heliopolis. People living in Heliopolis often face discrimination during job interviews. This bias against residents of such neighborhoods is prevalent not only internationally but also within Brazil. Many consider areas like Heliopolis to be dangerous, and thus it's often advised not to enter them. If you enter these areas as a foreigner, you will likely attract curious glances, as locals are not accustomed to seeing outsiders and will want to know your purpose for being there. Residents of these favelas often rely on illegal electricity connections, tapping into national grids through a complex network of underground dealings, typically controlled by various gangs. These neighborhoods receive minimal support from the government and are chronically underfunded. As a result, people often find themselves in desperate situations and, when faced with limited options, may unfortunately fall under the influence of local gangs. What distinguishes Rio from São Paulo is its direct access to the sea. Residents don't have to travel by car from the city center to reach the beach on weekends. To travel between the two cities in Brazil, it takes about 6 hours by car or 1 hour by plane. Although they may appear close on a map, Brazil is a much larger country than one might think, and the distance between the two cities is approximately 500 kilometers. If you have the opportunity to visit only one of these two cities, it makes more sense to choose Rio de Janeiro. This city is known for its vibrant entertainment sector and warm-hearted people. Leblon Beach in particular is one of the busiest spots in the country. No matter how far you walk along the beach, the crowds never seem to diminish. Interestingly, people typically come to the beach not for swimming, but for sunbathing and socializing with friends. As a result, you will often see adults playing games or simply gazing at the sea on the sandy shores. I don't know which country you're from or what culture you're accustomed to, but if you're visiting the beaches in Rio de Janeiro, be prepared to see more nudity than usual. Brazilian women enjoy being glamorous and revealing, and they take this to another level at the beaches. You'll find women of almost all ages embracing this style. Brazil is very welcoming to short-stay visitors under 90 days, with travelers benefiting Brazil's economy. Processing takes between 5 and 30 days. This brings us to the end of the video. See you in the next one. Goodbye.